only a few can turn something ugly into a beauty. Think Emmy's Decor does it just right with old accoutrements. With no skills or tuition from anywhere, her inspiration from within, as she puts it, is what drives her. Imelda AJ is our guest on this edition of BizTech. Let's join our reporter, Ernestina Sewa Asante, right now as she has a conversation with the journalist turned carpenter and interior decorator.
There is an iota of truth in the saying that what men can do, women can do better. I have with me one of such people who are competing with the men to be at the top with her unique business. She is in the person of Imelda AJ, Chief Executive Officer of Think Emmy's Interior Decor. Hello, Emmy. Okay, so for first timers who are yet to see your creative work, can you brief them what Emmy's Interior Decor is all about?
Emmy's Interior Decor, as a name states, is into interior decoration, but ours sort of has like a different side to it. So what we do is that we are into reupholstering of old furniture. We are into recycling old car tires, plastic bottles, plastic waste into artwork. We also do woodworks, which is pallet beds and pallet couches, and then we do general interior decoration, so painting, window curtains and all that. I have been in this business for a year and a few months, let's say a year and then 6 months.
So far, what inspires a project?
Inspiration. I think I just get my inspiration from within. This is something I started not with an intention of wanting to be an entrepreneur. I just saw a problem one day and I decided to solve that problem. I saw a very old or a very bad looking furniture in a very nice setting, and I felt that, why would this furniture be here, looking at the environment? And so I just spoke to the person whose office it was, and then I was like, I think I can do something about this furniture. It doesn't befit the environment. And so the person just asked me, what can you do about it? And then I just said, you can use like fabric or something. It wasn't something I had done before. It wasn't something I had an idea of doing ever. But just when I saw it, I just said, I think we can do this. And then the person bought into the idea. And yes, I had the opportunity to do it.
Did you have the skills already, or you learned to do that?
I didn't have any skill.
So how did you do it?
Inspiration from within. Yeah. Today, if I look at that project, I laugh at myself because I see the mistake I made with that particular project. But having it to be my first, I think it was a good thing I did. We have suppliers on the market, so once a client or a potential client contacts, we give you samples that we have. You make your choice. We get the suppliers to supply us with the fabrics, and then we book an appointment with you, which is the day we would come and then work on it. So centerpiece could take, depending on the type of design you're looking for, could take within 8 to 10 hours. Reupholstering of a furniture could take within a day and 2. Because what we do is, unlike the carpenters, when you want to reupholster your furniture, what they do is away from home. So away from home is like coming for your furniture from your home and then taking it to the workshop and all that. But we come to your home and then we fix it for you. And so until we are done, we don't leave. So usually we do a day or 2.
Who are these we? And then are they your team members or people you have employed?
I have a team of 3 ladies. So together with myself, we are 4. And so yes, we work together on any project. But sometimes we are not all available, and so you would find out that during some projects it will just be probably 2 or 3 people on the project. Being, first of all, a female sometimes is a challenge. Some clients or potential clients will contact, and then yes, some would know from the name of the business, think SMEs, but then when they call and then they hear a female's voice, female doing carpentry stuff, like, how sure are you that you are going to do this right? And so sometimes when they see that, oh, it's a female, they're like, oh no, I don't trust that this is going to work, and so they'll probably shun you. Or
how do you take that?
For me, I think it's normal. Like, that's life for you. It's not everyone that is going to accept you. At some point, you should be ready for rejection. Yes, I haven't really had like a very huge rejection, sort of, but I mean, feminism is everywhere.
Okay, so how is the feeling like working in a male-dominated area?
Mixed feelings, if I should say. Sometimes there's so much excitement, and then other times like too much stress. Like, I mean, there's been times I've asked myself, like, why did I even want to do this? I mean, yes, it's not something I really wanted to do, but why did I decide to do this? Couldn't I have just gone into probably buying and selling shoes, or buying and selling bags, hair pieces? Like, why this tedious work? Like, it's tiring, very tiring. And so yes, sometimes the feeling is like a good one, when you do the job well and then you get the good feedbacks, you're like, yes, you believed in yourself. Sometimes people will want to criticize you and everything, but when I go to the market, for instance, to go and buy the materials that we use, sometimes you meet the men in the market and they're like, but you, this lady, like, what are you doing in the market? This place is supposed to be for men and all that. And so sometimes they encourage you. They're like, oh wow, this is very great. And some would also obviously not like the idea, and so, but you, a lady, what are you doing here? And so it's usually a mixed feeling. You get the good side, sometimes you get the bad side.
You made mention of using used car tires for your project. What do you do to get them ready?
When we get the tires, what we do is that we make sure that we clean them, as in wash them, because they usually don't come in a clean form already. They are old tires, or and so we clean them and then we get them dried up before we start the whole process.
Can we have a look at how the entire process?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Let's go. Right. So aside the car tires, what other materials do you use for the project?
For the tire centerpieces, aside the tires, we use jute ropes, we use African print, we use leather. I mean, depending on the client's preference, whichever fabric or material you want, we'll just use it for you.
So how long have you been doing this?
A year and some few months. Yes, a year.
Okay. Can I also have a try?
Yeah, sure.
So Amy, where do you get your car ties from?
Usually we get it from organizers, or we go like around the community. Usually you see them scattered in town, and so once we see one and then we realize that it's of good, how do I say,
Quality that can make
sort of, for want of a better word, yes. One that is of good quality, yes, we take it and then we make use of it.
Are they expensive?
No, they are not. Like, we don't buy them.
It's for free.
Yes, we don't buy them. Like, they are just there. And so if someone else has an idea of making use of it, why not?
So it means you are helping them dispose of their waste.
Exactly.
That's fine.
But we will charge for it after the work is done, because the materials that we use, as inside the car tires obviously need to be bought, and so we can't do the centerpiece and then give it out for free. And some people think that once they have given you a car tire, like they've provided everything for you. So, oh, I need a centerpiece. I have an old tire in the house. Can you come for it? Oh yes, I can. Which design? They show you the design. So okay, so you can come for the tire. And then you tell them, oh, maybe this is how much it's going to cost. And you're like, even when I'm providing the tire, but you have done virtually nothing when you give the tire to us.
But they think they are doing you a favor.
Yes, exactly.
So after washing the car tires, what next?
Okay. After washing it, yeah, we would just leave it for it to dry. And then after it's dried up, we'll start the actual process.
Okay, Emmy, can you tell us how much this cost?
This particular piece is 300 cedis. And we usually work with the rims. I mean, the bigger the tire, the more materials you need. And so, I said earlier, our cost or our quotes is based on the things that we need for the product. And so, yes, it doesn't change when it comes to the centerpiece as well. It's the same thing. So, the bigger it is, I mean, the higher the price will go. I don't have like a particular amount of money that I can say that, oh, like I'll charge you, say like 5,000 if you want me to do interior. So you meet me in town and you're like, oh, I want you to come and design my room for me. How much will you charge? Then I give you a quote. Like, that is wrong. I haven't grown much in the system. I'm still learning, actually. But one thing I know is you don't just quote prices to people. At least get to know what the person wants. Get to know how much it will cost you to get the materials that you need, your service charge and everything. Sometimes some people call you and they're like, oh, I want you to come and reupholster my furniture for me. How much is it? And I'm like, it depends on the furniture you're talking about, the design. It depends on the fabric you want. It depends on your location. Like, there are so many factors that come when you have to charge someone for a project.
You had your internship with the Herald newspaper. You went to multimedia for another 6 months internship. You moved to GH1, and now you're an entrepreneur. How did you veer off?
I don't think it was a planned thing. Like, it just happened and I decided to go with the flow. Yes, you know, growing up, you always have something you want to do. Or, yes, when I grow up, I want to be a journalist, or I want to be a nurse or a doctor. But I think sometimes life happens and you don't have to be strict on yourself. If you think that you can move with the wind, just go with it. If you think it's too much for you, well, that's fine. But for me, one of my policies in life is not to stick to doing one thing, because I believe that everyone has the capacity or capability of doing so many things in life. And so just spread your wings. I mean, any opportunity you have. Yes, I went into journalism. That was what I was trained for. But I feel right now that I am making a lot more of impact being an entrepreneur than being a journalist. It might change in the future, but for now, that is what I believe in. Everyone has got something within them that they can bring out to shine. You don't always have to be employed by someone. Yes, some would argue that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But for me, if you think there's something in there deep within you that you want to bring out, just do it. Life is all about taking risk. I mean, I didn't plan on being an entrepreneur, but one decision I made by helping to solve a problem has gotten me here. It's been tough. I mean, there's been good times and bad times, but that is how life is.
What is the least amount you've charged for a centerpiece or interior decor as a whole?
A centerpiece least 120 cedis.
So what went into making that 120 cedi centerpiece?
Jute rope, velvet fabric, basically these two, plus the car tires, which obviously are not bought. Yes, there are other materials that we buy for the project and all that, but like I said initially, based on the preference of the client.
I want to find out who your target market is.
Every home, actually. I say that because, like I said initially, there are so many things that we do, and so someone might want us for centerpiece, another person might want us for reupholstering of their furniture, and someone else might want us for something else. And so yes, our target audience is to be of help to every home. At least every home should have a touch of Think SMEs. Aside the home, also is offices. I mean, interior decor is needed everywhere, and so whichever space it is, we want to be there.
How is business faring so far?
So far so good, but once it comes, you know that you're going to get something, doing to keep yourself busy and all that. And yeah, I would say it's been good. The referrals have been good. The response we get quite a good one. Looking at how old we are, I feel that there's a lot more to do. Like, there's a lot to learn. Trust me, a lot to learn. But I feel that we've progressed with time as well.
I want to know some of what you aspire to learn.
In the next 5 years, I see Think SMEs as a business that has gone beyond the shores of Ghana in terms of exporting the products that we do. And then I'm also looking at having a showroom where we can have some of our products being showcased. I am also looking at training more people, mostly on how to recycle or reuse the car tires and then the plastic waste, because you and I know how bad plastic waste is affecting our country, or our society, if I should say. And so we should probably in the next 5 years have thoughts about 200 more people, or over. Yeah, over 200 people.
What do you think about SMEs in Ghana? Do you think they are thriving?
I believe there's a lot of work that the government needs to do in terms of helping SMEs grow. Yes, there could be an argument that there's a lot that they're already doing in terms of providing financial support and all that, but trust you, sometimes these things come in a form of competition, or you need to apply and then go through some sort of process. And there are so many SMEs in this country, so many. The system is lacking job opportunities, and so everybody now wants to have a business on their own. And if there are like 10,000 or over 15,000 SMEs in a country where there's just a little support from government, it's not everybody that is going to enjoy it. Some will, but others won't. And so for me, I think that yes, some are thriving, probably because they have got some support from government, but then some of us, we don't inherit from anybody or from government. We just do what we can in our own means. So yes, personally, I haven't really been much of someone who is into getting aid from government, and I feel it's a lot of work. I mean, go and come, like you have to come back, like so many things you need to do and all that. And so I'd rather I just do what I can in my means. I mean, if along the line somebody or a government institution, I mean, spots my project somewhere and then they want to be of help, I mean, who doesn't like sponsorship? Everyone loves it. Yeah, but until then, I'll just do what I can do with my team, and yeah.
Okay, Emmy, what has been the hardest truth of being an entrepreneur in Ghana?
Entrepreneurship. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur. You know, most people look at what they see on social media and then they feel that, oh, life is cozy being an entrepreneur. But trust me, it's like the hardest decision to make, to be an entrepreneur, because it's not always going to be like rosy. I mean, for me and my team, it has not always been rosy. We've had bad times, like very, very bad times. Getting somebody to ask for your service and then you book appointments and everything is provided. On the D-Day you go and then the person is not there, and like it's a whole drama altogether. Like
So what do you do with the materials?
I mean, it depends on you, the client. If you want it, I can't give it back to you, because at the end of the day, it's your money we've used in buying it. So it's either you take it and then probably, because like the example I'm giving, for instance, this is a client who wanted us to do something, and then we bought everything. On the D-Day, we got there, and then we had spoken to the client, and the client knew we were coming. But then on arrival to the location, the client was nowhere to be found. So apparently the client wasn't around, and we had to wait for a while. There was still no show, and then we left. After we left, the client calls and says we should come back because there was some form of say forgetfulness, yes, or there was an emergency sort of, and so the idea of us coming just like went out of thought.
Did you leave the products or the materials at the client's house, or you took them back?
We had to take them back because yes, we had gotten to the location, but we didn't know where exactly the client was, you know, and it was a very sad and funny experience. Our bags getting torn along the way, the rain beating us at some point. I mean, it was like a mixture of good and bad.
Can you also share with us some fond memories you've enjoyed in this line of work?
Oh my goodness, like there's this particular client, my team member and I can't forget.
What happened?
He's been like one of our best clients so far. I mean, this client is very like hospitable, kind. There were things this client did that we didn't expect from, I mean, on a normal basis, but this client showed us some sort of like affection. Even after the project, the client will call you to check up on you, how's the business going, keep encouraging you, I mean, even give you ideas of how you can grow your business. Like, you hardly get those things. Some people contract you for a service, or they get an order, they give you an order to provide them with something. You go, you just do it. I mean, they've just contracted you to come and work. You are not there for family and friends, and so they hardly will probably talk to you. I've paid you, come and do your work and leave. But there are some would actually make you feel at home. And I'm grateful for all the clients who have given us that sort of treatment. And yes, I mean, those who have also been hard, it's been of great benefit to us, because the very first mistake we made, which made us progress or improve on our reupholstering, was working for, a first-class citizen, if I should say. And if the client wasn't so honest with us, I'm not sure we would have been able to improve. But thanks to that client as well, I'm grateful.
Life is not easy, but you've got to stand up and work on your dreams. Never give up. Ernestina Sewa Asante, Ghana Web Business. Thanks for watching.
That was an inspiring conversation. Let's now add up to our knowledge in IT with some tips on technology and innovation.
Hello everyone, my name is Jefferson Senyaja from After Music. Today on Tech Tips, I want us to talk about HTTPS. Now, some of you have seen it, some of you have heard it, or you might have just come across it, but some of you still don't know what it is. HTTPS simply means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Secure. HTTPS. What the old one used to be was HTTP. Now, when you go on your web browser and someone gives you their website address, aftown.com, what you're simply doing is typing aftown.com. What actually happens behind the browser is that it translates that into a web address and transmits whatever you are sending from that website to the remote server, be it a recipient or whoever you're sending the message to, in a secure way. The old one of transferring message just used to be HTTP without the secure aspect. The secure aspect is what we call SSL, which we'll dive in later on with SSL certificates and everything. But the most important one I want us to discuss is just being on the lookout. Now, in the midst of all these pandemic and us working so much to now transmit data online, it's very, very important that websites that you are on is always HTTPS enabled, meaning that it's secure enough for you to do. So whether you are making a payment using mobile money or whether you are making an online transaction, is very, very important. Now, it's not just making payments. These days we transmit quite a lot of data in terms of typing in personal information, whether it's not just social media but websites that's giving out information. It's very, very important that these websites are secure. So we're going to learn how to check that the website that you are on is HTTPS secure, and making sure that you're always on the lookout to make sure that these messages are transmitted securely. Let's dive into it.
So now that we're on our browser, and the browser I'm using here is Firefox, and as you can see, what I mentioned was that to make sure a site is very secure, once you type in, let's just say we're typing in Ghana Web, right? We just do a search, GhanaWeb.com comes up, we click on that, there we go. Now from the top there you can see a padlock. That padlock indicates how secure the website is. It indicates that this website is being transmitted securely. It even talks about how the connection is secure. If you come to the data, it gives you more information about what is used to secure the site, which certificates, which we will dive in later, but the most important part is that you make sure it's secure. Now some websites that are not secure would have, let's say this one. See how the padlock is not green, and when you click on it, they say parts of these websites are not secure, such as images, meaning that they are part of these websites which it's already serving you images, but the images are not using SSL, meaning that they're not secure. Now this is not probably saying that nothing you transfer on this website is not secure, but it's just saying a part of it is not secure. So it's always important that you check the padlock. Once you make sure that the padlock is on and is mostly green, so whether you're using Mozilla Firefox or whether you're using Chrome or Safari, it's always a padlock, and sometimes it's green. So that's another padlock. If you go to Aftown, that's another padlock, to make sure that whatever you're transmitting is secure. So we keep that in mind and always check that the HTTP padlock sign and is SSL enabled.
So that's it for this week. I hope you've all learned something about HTTPS. So remember to always check that whichever website you're looking on or you're getting to, always check that if you're actually making an online transaction. Always check that for just extra security, and just make sure that whatever you're transmitting on that website, from that website to your recipients, is secure. That's it for this week. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. Thank you.
It's been a momentous week for business news in Ghana, from corporate boardrooms to courtrooms and other interesting sectors. Some of these high-profile stories filled the business pages for days. Others are likely to continue to dominate the news weeks after. It's time to bring you some business stories that made headlines this week. Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Baffour-Iwar, has disclosed that the jobs of 11.2 million people in the country have been affected by the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. This comes on the back of the pandemic's associated restrictions, closure of air, sea, and land borders, and a halt in demand and supply chains globally. According to the minister, a survey conducted by his outfit showed that 40% of the Ghanaian labor force have had to take pay cuts as a result of the pandemic's impact. He made this revelation while addressing journalists at a press briefing on Wednesday, September 16, 2020 in Accra.
The reduction in economic activity caused a decline in jobs and resulted in pay cuts for some workers. This was due to losses in working hours across sectors of the economy, particularly in the manufacturing subsector and services. 2 months ago, Madam Chair, my ministry commissioned a pilot labor market survey to assess the impact of COVID-19 on job losses and pay cuts. The survey covered 878 enterprises across the country and involved a total of 44,040 employees. The survey covered micro, i.e. those who engages 1 to 4 persons, small, 5 to 29 employees, medium, 30 99 employees, and large, those who engage over 100 persons.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the new patriotic party will not succumb to pressure to make the commercial use of motorbikes, popularly known as Okada, a legal means of commercial transport in the country. The Vice President, who was speaking at the launch of Volkswagen's new assembled cars in Ghana, described the operationalization of Okadas in the country as a risky business. He also announced government's proposed alternative to offer new cars to the operators on a lease basis in order for them to carry out their activities in a much safer manner.
We will not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It may be a tough decision, but it is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision to provide a better alternative for the Okada riders. Let's give them opportunities to buy safer vehicles, to lease safer vehicles and pay over time. They need to graduate from this risky and less safe Okada riding to a safer means of transportation. Their problem will be a lack of capital. But if you bring in new leasing policies and we have our national ID cards with our digital addresses and so on, we can have a credit system working.
Data released by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that Ghana's economy contracted by 3.2% in the second quarter of 2020. This compares favorably with countries such as Nigeria and South Africa, whose economies contracted by 6.1 and 17.1% respectively in the second quarter. The country's non-oil gross domestic product, which measures productivity within the economy, also shrunk by 3.2% within the same period. The slowdown puts the economy at risk of recording its sharpest yearly contraction in 37 years. Members of the Coalition of Affected Savings and Loans Customers have confirmed that some of them have received the full amount of their locked-up deposits in cash, while some are yet to get theirs as promised by the government. According to the chairman of the affected customers, Kofi Sapon, the majority of their members who could not receive their money have infractions on their payment claims, hence the delay and difficulty in paying them. Thousands of depositors on Wednesday, 16 September 2020, trooped to the various branches of Consolidated Bank, Ghana, across the country to receive their outstanding claims in cash. This was after the government released some 3.56 billion Ghana cedis to the receiver to facilitate the payment. The Customs Division of the Kotoka International Airport has disclosed that the revenue mobilization collection targets from June to August have been exceeded. This comes on the back of the newly introduced single window system at the ports to facilitate trade, the Integrated Customs Management System (ICUMS). Speaking at a stakeholders engagement on Thursday, September 17, 2020, Sector Commander at the division, T.D. Williams, said despite the coronavirus pandemic, the division has scored significant revenue gains.
In June, just as the Unipass was introduced, we strongly worked hard around the clock and made sure that we were able to exceed our target by as much as 15.2%. This target exceeds the previous year's gains, where there was no COVID-19, where introduction of Unipass has not taken place. It is also significant to add that in July, we went further to 22.6%.
That's all we have for you for this edition of BizTech. Join us next week for another exciting package. My name is Na Oyukwoti.